Hello, everybody, and welcome to a Sourcing Investments webinar. We've got it's not something that we do that often. We only do it when it's needed, or we feel that our audience of 38,000 investors need to know about something. And today we decided that it's very much needed to present something that we're very excited about. We've been working with this gentleman who's on your screen as well, Guillaume from Property Filter, and the guys in the team there for quite a while now. But it's something that I think for any investors, whether it's in the UK, whether it's in the US, whether it's sourcing agents here in the UK, or whether it's wholesalers in the US, maybe that's another not quite yet, but it's definitely strides we're going to go towards. But so if everybody's wondering why I'm in a sort of a dark room with a light, I'm currently in Bali at the moment. So, you know, this just sort of proves that you can do everything, and wherever you are, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, so what I want to say is, welcome to Guillaume. Guillaume, welcome. Thank you for joining us, and everybody who's attended today. It will be recorded as well. And I'm sure that a lot of people will take their time to look at that as well. So really, without further ado, what I'm going to suggest is we're just going to have a very relaxed sort of like 25 minutes, if that, to sort of give you guys exactly why I personally think this is why it's worth your time turning it today, and also people watching this again. So quick sort of story. Everybody's understands you've been on our database list for a long while. I'm the CEO of Sourcing Investments. We set out 7 years ago to solve the problem of transparency and line of sight to opportunities that you cannot replicate yourself in the UK property market. We've achieved this. Over £85 million worth of property has now been sold through our platform. We have now recently moved into purchase lease options and other rent-to-rent strategies, which is allowing investors right now to take advantage of portfolios of property, take control, and not have the capital outlay. Just to give you an idea, we had one that went up 2 weeks ago. It was an 8-property portfolio. We had in 24 hours, 298 investors interested, 15 contacted the agent, and 5 offers were made, and that is going through currently. And that was for 40,000 to take control of 8 properties with a fixed price point. So you could take control of it in the next 5 years with an ROI, I think originally of about £4,500 a month, pure profit. So not bad. So really what we found is one of the things, and that is always the issue. And whether you're starting out in your investor journey, as I did 15 years ago, or whether it's you're a professional who is seeking ways of how to gain an advantage, to gain a line of sight to opportunities. And one of the things that is very difficult in the UK is using big data. Big data itself is available, but unfortunately, the way that it is laid out in various different data centers, databases, etc., is very difficult. And there are a few companies out there who are trying to do this in order to use big data to try and find uniqueness in amongst the market. So therefore, whether you're an investor wanting to do it with your own self and find opportunities, or whether you're a sourcing agent and want to really ramp your business to understand where the opportunities of various strategies, but ultimately with discounts and potential discounts that you can provide to your investor database, or as we now have 95 agents on the platform across the country on Sourcing Investment, providing it to investors like yourself. So I'd welcome here Guillaume here today. And Guillaume is and his team, I'd say, known for quite a while. They are based on our platform, so you can have a look. We're going to put in the, I think you've already seen within the webinar chat, there was a link if you guys want to go and have a look at it at the end of the webinar. Please go and take a look. But Guillaume, welcome, and thank you very much for your time. And just to sort of gauge with everybody, you know, we've been working together for a while now, and I genuinely mean this, that Guillaume and the team are few and far between. They do what they say on the tin. They're very passionate about solving problems. Why does Property Filter exist, Guillaume? Why did you guys decide to put it together? What was tell us about, you know, what problem you are solving, and why is it related to the numerous investors that are here today joining us?
Yeah, cool. Thanks a lot, Chris. Thanks for having me. So really, at the beginning, we built it for ourselves. So the history goes that you know, you commit to property, you go on the courses, and you really want to, you know, get going with property. You do everything, you know, you sort of rewire your brain, change your mindset, surround yourself with the right people, all these things. You get the knowledge, etc. But the truth is, most of us, when we are starting out, we're also, you know, like really busy in a day job. So that was my case. So I was working 60 hours, you know, weeks for someone else, a job I wasn't passionate about anymore. And the truth is, I could only do 3, 4, 5 viewings, maybe, you know, tops, you know, per week, you know, like around my, and this is by cramming, you know, everything as much as possible. And most investors, you know, out there, or most sourcers, most sourcing agents for that matter, when we go on the portals, we are randomly booking viewings, you know, based on the pictures and the layout, and then only to find ourselves, you know, queuing at viewings where the vendor is oversubscribed, it's not motivated, and there's never going to be a deal to be had. So what happened is that I was, you know, week after week, I was just wasting my time, you know, like just wasting my time, you know, every week I was delaying my progress by a week. So we thought, you know, there's got to be a way to pre-qualify the viewings. So how can we find motivated sellers, you know? So and that's what we sort of set out to do initially. So it was just about, I would only do viewings if the seller was motivated, and we use, as you say, big data, AI to find that out. And
so really, typically, Guillaume, just to sort of ask you then, you know, using big data and these kind of sort of terminology is for everybody, you know, they may have heard of it, but majority won't. And give us an idea with regard to, I mean, my understanding is even some of the training companies that are out there and telling people how to become property investors, one of the methodologies that they still talk about is letter dropping. And you know, going door to door and knocking, you know, getting in sort of networking groups and all the rest of it. And don't get me wrong, that's great, and it has a place. It does. But what you guys are doing, big data itself, and just for everybody who's on the call, big data is really taking the amount of data that is now out there in the world, and we're not talking about you know, super complicated stuff. It's just records, land registry. The kind of information that has been, you know, sort of created for you know, decades, you know, especially in the UK and Western countries. This is what you guys, I'm assuming, you know, what you're saying, GM, is you're taking all of this data and turning it into something that is usable and easy. That's the difficult bit. It's all right having the data. I mean, all of these guys could go and get that data, right? But at the same time, is then how do you process it and make it into something valuable? That's what you guys have solved.
So I will pick up on two sort of subjects, you know, you had in your question. So the first one is around this letter drops and things like that. So we've really studied success. So I've spoken to 400 plus people who've been doing this, you know, like more than decades, full-time in property. What makes success in property? And we came and built this blueprint, you know, based on that. And broadly summarized, basically what we realized is that property is a people business and it's a numbers game. So I'll show you a bit more about the data, and I'll answer your question about what we did with the data. And I could be the data guy here, sitting here and tell you the data doesn't lie, you know, follow the data, all that nonsense. But the reality is, you know, it's not how it works. It's very property is very human nature, with people attached with their property, like with feelings and stuff. And so it's not really using the data to tell us where is the best yield in the country and stuff like that, because the data will only give you average performance of an area, and what we want is above performing assets. So all the properties I got, you know, they're like 40% plus, 50% plus ROI, and you know, I didn't go and look on the data and say, oh, show me the no money down area in the UK and I'll buy there, you know, or show me the 50% plus ROI areas in the UK. So it's all about buying from people that need to sell. So buying from motivated sellers. So it's a people business. We want to buy from people who need to sell, and then we use our knowledge expertise to add the value in another way. But the first step is to buy from people where the price is not the main driver, and then it's a numbers game. Sorry, mate. And it's a numbers game where, you know, it's most people don't have a process to follow through, where you know, we just go, we try to make work this one deal, and we attach to this one deal for 3 months, we stack it left, right, and center, and we can't, and nothing stacks, you know. Nothing stacks, you know. You look out there, nothing stacks, and we have to deal with in the UK we are not, or in Europe for that matter, we are not very good with rejection, you know. And so it's a numbers game. It's just putting the offers in and then never missing. The deals are in the follow-up. So we've sort of built all of that here. And what
I was going to say, sorry, just to sort of give context to everybody. And one of the things is it's okay finding the opportunities, and you say it's a numbers game, but you also need to be able to manage the process as well, which I think a lot of people find difficult. How do you track, for example, where your lead generator and process through putting the offers in, where is it at, etc. Which again, I find, unfortunately, from my corporate days, I find very easy to design. I think, at the end of the day, sourcing investments is just one big process, sort of like just creating processes to make life easier. But that's something that you guys, as well as finding the opportunities of actually allowing the customer relationship management process of that as well, right? That's something that you'd be passionate about.
But the hardest thing is to keep things simple, and so we are driven, like everything we do, it's all about the results. So our North Star metrics at Property Filter is how many deals our members found, in the last week. So that's all we think about. And to get results, it shouldn't be complicated. So we have to make something simple. And it's all built on the excellence of this big database, in the backend, basically that feeds all of that. But if it needs to be simple for people to work with it. So basically, what we've done is build the biggest, the most comprehensive, the most complete property-related database in the UK, and then we make it accessible for you. So we match and merge everything property related. So that's is the equivalent of having a Rightmove, Zoopla on the market all in one place for the on-market stuff. But then we cross-check this with all sorts of other database, EPC register. We find the full address of most properties. We find the square meterage of most properties. I've got the leasehold information, the lease length for every leasehold properties. Are you in or out of an article for area? We've digitalized the maps. There's quite a lot on this sort of big data.
So what I would say is, we can talk, and I completely understand what you're talking about. Everybody who's on the call is just here. I can, itch, and I can feel the energy already. It's like, come on, then let's show us it. Let's show us something. Talking is cheap. Let's see the action. So maybe, if you want to share your screen and then sort of give people a bit of a flavor. And what I've done with everybody as well is in the chat right now, there is a link that you can click through, which allows you to gauge a free trial on this system. But as I say, for me, this is super powerful. And I say there are other companies out there that I have seen and worked with and all the rest of it. But this is where people who understand property have now created it for other people who are in property too. And that's the difference. It's not some geek sat there thinking that there is a problem and creating it. This is actually by property people for property people. So take it away and just sort of give us, remember, everybody's seeing this for the first time.
Yeah, cool. So remember, I told you property is a people business and it's a numbers game. So really, this is what we've done here. So what I'm showing you here is, so it's Property Filter. It's a website. It's meant to be used on the computer. We will release an app later this year. So don't try to use it on your phone, just for now. So it works on Mac and PC. And there's quite a few things we can do. It's all about finding deals. It's all about finding motivated sellers. And it works for every strategy. So remember, property is a people business and it's a numbers game. So the two main aspects of the website will be those lead generators, so for finding motivated sellers and deals, and then the pipeline where you convert all these good leads into great deals. So I'll show you this, and then the rest you can have a play. You can have a play in your trial. But imagine you had whether you are an investor or a sourcing agent. Imagine you had 5, 6, 7 people on your team working 24/7. So people get VAs or people get people in the office, to go and fill spreadsheets for them. So all of this is automated. As many as you can see of these blue lead generators, these are all, they are kind of safe search with a bot, a machine, if you like, behind them that goes and swipe all the internet for you every day while you sleep, and it just updates every day. So
this is kind of like a set of criteria that you're setting to find properties. That's ultimately what it is. So if I'm guessing one of these are a save, so like the one you've got Coventry, HMO conversions. That is an area combined with a strategy. So like, for example, if you're an investor who is in Coventry, or somebody who is in Derby, or somebody who is in Birmingham, you can actually find ones within your area if you wanted to. But also, really interestingly, you are not restricted by where your area is, because you are completely covering the whole of the United Kingdom.
Yeah, that's right. So the people who join us right now, so we're still under this kind of early adopter, grandfather's right kind of plan. So you can go up and down the country. The likelihood is that before the end of the quarter, so we probably have to restrict, because there's been quite a lot of traction. So we can't give as many areas to the new members. So it's really cool to join early, because you keep all these grandfathers right. But I'll show you. So I don't know. I'll just get after a random one. So this we've got Sheffield here. Let me have a look. Or do we have the Coventry one? Sorry, let's look at Coventry. So inside each of the lead generators, we've got a leads inbox, and we've got all the available properties, all the ones that are sold subject to contract here on the top right. So remember, this pulls out from everywhere. So once you're looking at this, you don't need to look anywhere else, because it's the equivalent of having Rightmove, Zoopla on the market everywhere.
Yes.
And then you can see you've got the full postcode every time, and then in most of the cases we've got the full address. So full address here in 6 out of 6, 1, 2, 3. So pretty much 6 out of 6 here as well. So we quite. Throughout the website, it's anything between 70 and 80%. We find all of the full address. So long gone are the days where you drop the little yellow man, and look at bin numbers and doorbell numbers and all that. It's all done for you. But
so just to double check here, Guillaume,
yep.
This is for everybody here. What is the criteria that is creating this list of potential properties? What is the criteria for this?
Yeah, so I've gone. So I can show you the criteria we can do. So when you set up a lead generator, basically the first thing you want to do is pick an area. So there'll be a postcode somewhere, a bit of a radius, and then you just pick all the postcodes you want, and then you can add and remove the ones you don't like, and do funky things like this with the area. Then with the strategy, so we've got templates ready for you. So you can quickly get set up here, where you want to say, I want to look for existing HMOs inside an Article 4 area, or potential conversion projects, just at the outskirts of the area.
Yes.
And then we can find lease options by matching properties that are for sale as well as to rent. We can find lease options by looking at properties that are for sale for less than what they last sold, and they're sticking on the market. They're all motivated sellers.
Yes.
You have 1 to 2 bed flips works really well in the south. Short lease properties. So this is all because there's so many layers of the data.
Yes.
So if I look at like Coventry, for example, it'd be if I go no templates, it would what we did previously. So it's looking for a property for sale. We didn't want to see the flats. We didn't want the leasehold, the shared ownerships, or any of these things. We didn't want auctions. We wanted 3-bed plus within a certain price range. So I can't remember what we put there. Just let's say.
So you can be ultimately, from this for everybody. This allows obviously you to be very specific, or as very broad as you want, with regard to strategies, price points, to suit not only what capital you have, with regard to moving into property. For example, if you're just starting out and you've actually done a Sourcer training course through the likes of Property Investor Network, PIN, and Simon Zucci, you are now wanting to be able to very much now identify opportunities for lease options or for rent to rent. And this allows you to be as specific as you want to be across the whole of the United Kingdom to actually generate results, right? So you can, from my side, you literally can be as specific or as broad as you want, depending on what you want as a business and what you want as an individual to go and identify, right?
But equally, you can keep things simple. So you can just use a template, or you've got like this sort of headline filters I'm showing you here, which is quite simple.
Yeah.
And then this is where you can go into the advanced filters, and things get a bit more interesting. So if you're looking to convert an HMOs, you might say, okay, I'm looking for something with 2 reception rooms that is 100 square meter plus.
Yes.
So there's nowhere else you can do these kind of things. And the idea is not so much bringing you more results, but it's cutting off the noise, So you spend less time scrolling through pages and pages.
Being specific, yeah.
And then we want to say here, okay, I want to look for an HMO, some project just outside of an Article 4 area, etc. So you can look for company owner, lease lengths, and there's quite a lot of little cool keywords you can use. So I'll let you play with it. So you don't, there's a lot you can do with it, but I would recommend as you start,
keep it simple.
You just keep it simple,
Yeah.
But then the old sort of the main, I'm not sure which one we're looking at. The main idea when you look at these is it's where you've got a lot of information you'll never get otherwise. Like very quickly you see, okay, what's the square meterage of the property, what's the verified EPC, what's the price since last sold, and you see these guys, they've got plenty of equity. So it's quite a really cool summary you can see really, really fast. But then where do we start? So I told you at the beginning, when I first started, I probably spent the first 18 months of my property journey like wasting my time because I would be randomly booking viewings based on the pictures and the layout, and then wasting my time because the vendor was not motivated. So the idea here, so once you've set and forget your criteria, the machines will fill your inbox with leads that match your criteria. But then you don't want to randomly book viewings, like by alphabetic order or postcode or whatever the Rightmove feed algorithm is. You want to go straight to the motivated sellers. So we do. Let's do
that because that's everybody understands that. I want to be getting an opportunity with motivated sellers. That's exactly where I want to be.
So we've got these guys here so we've got this graph of price and status history, where the blue line is the price history, and then the background is the availability status. So green is available, amber is all subject to contract. So this one, we see that it was sold subject to contract between January and sort of last week, and came back on the market. And it seems like it's been listed with this agent since October last year. But this is, if you don't have property filter, you might think, okay, this has been on the market for just over 4 months. But in reality, before that, it failed to sell with this other agent between July and October. And before that, it failed to sell with this third agent, or this first agent, if you like.
That's super powerful.
Was listing it from put on the market at 400, dropped the price in 400 back in February, dropped the price in April, dropped the price again. And it seems like you see, like the red means they've withdrawn the property from the portals and put it back. So typically for most investors, they are addicted to the Rightmove alerts, and basically we get done by the agents all the time, because what they do is they want to recreate some interest on this. So as you can see here, they refresh the listing, they put it out and put it back again.
Yes,
everybody gets the email,
So, but obviously from your side, and this is where I wanted to sort of explain to everybody, this is where the big data comes in to allow you to now see information in a very usable, valuable way. And I think, like, for example, this actually tells a story behind the property rather than just actually specific data points at any one time. This is the powerful nature of the system. And it's just one of many. And to be able to now go to an agent or for example, if this is a criteria of a property that the investor or a sourcer is looking for, you can now understand the history. And now you can now say, hey, look, I know this has been on for a while. It's been with a few agents. Don't mess me around. Let's get to it. I would like to put an offer in on, for example, this property at 345,000 and be able to sort of then understand that you're the one with the power of the information, not everybody else telling you it. Does that make sense? It's the legitimate data-driven situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's all about identifying the motivation, because people don't go out and shout, hey, I'm motivated.
Yes.
You find out this because this is the third agent that's churned this property, and they've dropped the price by quite a bit. From 400 to 365, they had another sale fell through, and you see amongst all the possible properties we have in Coventry, actually I didn't quite prepare that. We just randomly went and find this one. And we've got some things like that where sale fell through a couple of times, they decreased the price, and you see it's quite interesting because these people will have accepted an offer back in July last year when it was the peak of the market, and now the sale fall through at the worst possible time to be selling a property, like in a decade, So these guys are really motivated. And the way to look at it is that it's quite likely you'll have 10 conversations with agents and vendors anyway this week or next week. So you might as well have them with people who are motivated and would like to sell.
Yes, and it's increasing the likelihood of success with regard to having those conversations and being efficient with your time when you're trying to find opportunities. That's the key, because you could have 50 conversations and that's very tiring or the rest of it. I'd rather have 5 conversations, which I know are motivated and I have the information behind it to understand the situation. And I would expect that therefore, rather than having 50, I can have 5 with maybe the outcome of having 1 success. I'd rather have, a 20% success rate rather than a 1 in 50.
Yeah. So going back to what you were saying about the letters and stuff, we all want direct to vendor deals, but the reality is the marketing we do is direct to owner. So we send letters all the time to people who don't want to sell their houses. So not to bore you with the math too much, but basically there's 33 million properties in the UK, 1 million change hands every year. Out of this 1 million, only 230,000 are suitable investment. So if you look at 230,000 properties and you divide it by 33 million, it's 0.7%. So your chance of sending a letter to someone that wants to sell their property, in the next year is sub 1%. I'm not even talking about opening the letter. I'm not even talking about the phone ringing. I'm talking about the circumstance, So the odds are against us. So a very efficient way is to go and look at these where the vendors are, and 92% of the vendors, they are on the market. They said they wanted to sell, and then you can see that they are struggling to sell. And you can go after them, and there's nothing stopping you from going direct to vendor. There's quite a few techniques you can use. So your first port of call, in there on the motivated seller banner here, is to go after those properties that are back and reduced, where the sale fell through, came back on the market and was reduced. Then when we looked at these, we can go after the ones that are back on the market, but not necessarily reduced. And I really like, so there's not so many anymore, but sometimes you'll have properties that are back on the market and increased. And this is great because you'll have, typically they accepted an offer last July and come back on the market in January, and they think they can still achieve the price they accepted at the peak of the market where everything was flying off the shelf. But there's a true complete disconnect between the reality of the market and this, and usually it's the vendor is just disconnected, and so they've got very little interest. And then when you can go back, say you've got a property at 200,000 and they accepted an offer at 220 last summer, they can't sell it at 220 now, and so you can go back and say, oh, I see this is at 220,000 right now, but I seem to remember last June it was at 200. What's changed, as the market got any better? And the agent knows all too well that the market is not getting better. He's making redundancies, because 2023 is not looking really great for them in sales. So they might come back to you and say, oh, well, I'm sure they'll accept 200. And so in one conversation, in 1 minute, you've reframed the whole idea of the asking price. And then this is your asking price is 10%, 15% below anyone else, And then once they open the door, it's just the start. So there's so many things you can. This is one of like 10 examples of things we can do with the insight you see here.
And I think it's just super powerful. At the end of the day, from my side, being able to have the potential of really legitimate, data-driven transparency. So I, as an investor, or I, as a sourcer, am increasing my efficiency to get deals is just unreal. And the fact of the matter, this has been put all together. And I know that you are literally scratching the surface on this. I know that you haven't even got it. And what I would say to everybody is, look, we're trying to gauge the essence. We don't want to be, we could be here for, a couple of hours, but we're not here to do that right now. This is just something which, again, we now have quite a lot of our agents utilizing this. So our sourcing agents, again, we've got 95, are utilizing this. And this is why, between Property Filter and Sourcing Investments together, being able to find opportunities, the sources actually having now an effective business to be able to bring opportunities to them, and then being able to combine that with being on the Sourcing Investments platform to actually then professionalize how they then sell it to a completely different market. It's not the residential market, it's investor market. and be able to get line of sight. This is why, Property Filter and Sourcing Investments working together is just literally gold dust. And I think if this was sat here 20 years ago, I mean, I don't think we'd be needing to have this conversation right now. We'd be on a beach drinking pina coladas, you know what I mean? But the good news is we're bringing it to you guys now because, as I say, I'm not one just to shout about stuff. I've seen it, I've used it. I know many agents are using it as well. And this is why, me as the CEO of Sourcing Investments wanted to bring this to you now, because I've personally seen it being executed, being done, property deals being sold. And that's thanks to Property Filter making that front end for investors, if they're doing it themselves, or sourcing agents themselves, actually, bringing deals to the party and making that business not just throwing darts and hoping it sticks. Yeah. This is now you can be very targeted, very specific, and more importantly, very efficient with your time, which actually then makes your business much more revenue generating, and your time is valuable. And I just wanted to say, outright that, gaining momentum on this is absolutely legitimate. And I think everybody on this call and everybody watching it after, you need to be going to the link. You need to be going and checking the opportunity, the free trial. How long is the free trial?
So it's a couple of weeks. Yeah, if you want
a couple of weeks, and go and take a look at it. At the end of the day, this is not anything else apart from a personal recommendation from myself. Of course, if you wanted to go past the 2 weeks and legitimate, you have a couple of packages which are absolutely undervalued, in my opinion, undervalued beyond belief. But I think at the same time, for people coming into this, it's worth every single penny. And if you cannot convert what you being in the property game with this tool and the power of your fingertips, then I would say to everybody, don't get in the property game, because this is an absolute game changer. And combining that with a marketplace that you can sell it to with investors globally, you just need to package these deals up. So you've got everything that a source or an investor absolutely needs to kick ass and make some decent revenue and market. And I just, thank you guys very much. I know you're working so hard. You've just had a fantastic investment round. And you're going to be going on to bigger and better things. And, and I wanted to bring it again, just to all of our investors here at Sourcing Investments to say, come and take a look at these guys. This is absolutely legitimate. And I don't put my name to a lot of stuff, but I personally put my name to this. And I think you guys are doing a great job. But thank you. And everybody, with regard to it, was there anything that, from your side, Guillaume, to sort of wrap things up?
It's worth mentioning a bit. So basically there's quite a bit of support you get when you get. So you get when you come. So we've just really scratched the surface. It's not the top of the iceberg; it's the top of the ice cube.
Yes. Yes.
But I thought we'd share. Because some of the agents or investors. So I think it's more worth mentioning Toby, which is really good agent for you as well.
Toby's fantastic. Yeah, absolutely amazing. Toby's the bald chap at the top left, by the way, for everybody on this.
Yeah. So Toby was one of the first one to jump on this when we opened it to friends and friends of friends. Sort of this time last year. So he's been with us 10 months now. In the first 2 months, he found 4 deals and found and sold 4 deals. He found a few more, and then I had a chat with him just recently, and he seems to be going up all the time. So like a month ago, he told me he had 31 that he found and sold in 10 months, and now he's I spoke with him a couple of days ago, and he says we're coming up to 50 now in just under 11 months. So. And it's just one of many examples from the sourcing agent side. So really, if you are building a business of finding properties for other people, you really can't afford not to have Property Filter on your team. And equally, as an investor, if you ever find yourself scrolling for Rightmove, it just doesn't, you're wasting your time. So I'll detail with you a little bit the sort of offer we have with Chris. So we've closed the doors because we offer 100 places every month at the moment. We might increase that later on. So we are at the beginning of the month now. So I'm going to open the door after this call, subject to how many people take on the offer. So we've had to close previously because all the spots sold out within a week, usually at the beginning of the month. And this is a screenshot of the website today. So after this call, I will see how many people take the offer. And so Property Filter is £99 a month. It's you've got someone on your team. So we talked about having VAs and stuff like that. So it just puts money in your pocket right now. It saves you money, effectively, because it cuts a lot of the admin. And then what we are adding for you guys and for Chris. So we've got a little course we've built to help you unbox Property Filter all the way to going through the follow-up. So if today we scratch the surface, I take you through a lot more in there, and that's included in you signing up through SI. You for the 20 people who the first 20 people who sign up on this call or recording, you'll get a one-to-one call from our head of customer success, and the idea is to see, okay, what's your strategy, and help you set things up so you get going as soon as possible and get results. And then you get access to me once a week. So we're going to ramp this up to twice a week from next week, where we do weekly calls, and I answer your questions. So we actually got one tonight at 7 p.m. You're free to join as well tonight. And then between those sessions, we've got a dedicated team that supports you, that are property experts, as well as the expert with the software. So we can help you with any questions you have. And really, we are going to grow this and scale this quite a bit this year. So we've got 450 members up and on the country. And when we opened the door last month, we had 100 people in the first week, so we had to close. So we kind of taking 100 people a month at the moment, and we're restricting it to 100 people a month. But as we build capacity, we're going to scale this quite a bit. So this is really crest of the wave opportunity for you to get on early, because by the end of the year there'll be 3,000 people, and the thing is to manage the deals so that people don't step on each other's toe too much. We'll have to restrict the area that people access to. So, and we'll probably increase the price to the new one. So by joining early, after this, basically you fix your price and you fix your area. You've got this, you maintain the same reach. So it's quite good. And then I've got nothing to sell you really, because basically this is the opportunity for you to come on a free trial, and I take all the risk. I'll do the calls. We commit to help you within the trial, because I know it's going to be such a game changer that, as Chris said, if you're serious in property, it's a no-brainer for you to stay once you've had a play with it. So yeah, just invite you to jump on the trial and join us, join the Property Filter community, and join the track record of success we've had with our sourcing agents as well as investors.
We just got a little question from Trevor, to sort of finish off, and thanks, Trevor, for the question. It says, do you cover rental potential?
Yes. Well, I'm not quite sure what you mean. So we look at rental.
I'm guessing I'm going to interpret that on Trevor's behalf. So I do apologise, Trevor, if this is not what you meant. But I am assuming this is to do with demand. So what is the rental potential of the property itself? So is there any data that actually is showing what the rental prices are? Does that make sense?
Yeah, you can. So there's a comparable kind of module in there where you can pull out what are the current asking rents, what are the let agreed price, and then you've got also anything that's rent in the last 6 months in an area. So you know this. Yeah.
So I think the answer is yes, Trevor. So go in, take a look. And again, we're only trying to do this. We're only trying to do this for half an hour. We've already run over.
Yes, yeah.
But just give you a bit of an idea, but that's okay. This just sort of shows, the people who obviously are interested. And I think with anything, Trevor and everybody else who was on this call and watching it again, on the recording, is go and take a look. Look, at the end of the day, there is nothing apart from a little bit of your time to go and take a look at this. You're already as part of Sourcing Investments. So you know what we're all about, the professionalism, and more importantly, these guys are part of that. So go and take a look, please. I don't ask this from many people, but if you have turned up here today, thank you very much. And everybody else watching this as well. I do apologize that I look like I'm in a ghost house right now, but as I say, it's getting dark here in Bali. But thank you so much, Guillaume. I really appreciate your time. And thank you for everybody else who have been on here. And Trevor, thanks for the questions. And anybody else, please go and check them out. You've got the link in the chat box. Go and check them out, and you can see everything that you get with regard to even just going to the 2-week trial. And I would dare you to go in and take a look, because I think it will be something that will blow your mind and will take a lot of anxiety, stress, and more importantly, give you a very much of a framework, a purpose, and more importantly, results. And if you don't, I think you would be very silly not to. But thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Guillaume. Thank you, everybody, for turning up. Anybody else watching this afterwards, go and take a look at it. It's not just a quick sort of oh, there's something in here. Sorry, nothing is in the chat box. It's definitely in the chat box. There is a link in the chat box to everybody. We will send it out as well to everybody, just to give you again. I'm going to do it. Should be able to see it. There we go. I've done it again. But for everybody who's joined the call, or anybody who's registered, we will send it out to you on an email as well. But more importantly, just go and check these guys out. It's a very special tool. And this is, like, as you said, Guillaume, the start of the crest of a wave. And we wanted to show all the real guys interested. Go and take a look, make it happen. And between Property Filter and Sourcing Investments, you've got a very powerful tool as investors, more importantly, as in sourcing agents as well. So don't waste your time. Be efficient, be effective, and go and see Property Filter.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you very much. Have a lovely day, not evening. And see you again soon, mate.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Speak soon.
See you, bye.